Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Friday, August 16th, day 315. Negotiations for a ceasefire hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas continued today in Qatar, in Doha, and a source familiar with the negotiations communicated to Haaretz that the parties hope to see progress in the next 24 hours. Another source close to the talks told Haaretz that they have been successful thus far and have taken place in a positive spirit. Israel's delegation is set to return from Doha on Saturday night. Today, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar once again issued a joint statement about the mediation talks. The statement said that the current proposal on the table builds on areas of agreement over the past week and bridges the remaining gaps in the manner that allows for swift implementation of the deal. The statement continued and said that senior officials from our governments will reconvene in Cairo before the end of the week with the aim to conclude the deal under the terms put forward today. As the leaders of the three countries stated last week, there's no further time to waste nor excuses from any party for further delay. It's time to release the hostages and detainees, begin the ceasefire, and implement this agreement. The path is now set for that outcome, saving lives, bringing relief to the people of Gaza, and de-escalating regional tensions. A senior Hamas official told Reuters that the group was briefed on the ceasefire talks in Doha, but that the terms being discussed did not resemble what was agreed upon on July 2nd. So it's not clear to me actually whether or not Hamas is present in Doha. They were previously not going to go. And it sounds like what's been concluded there will be reported to them in the days ahead. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is expected to arrive in Israel next week to discuss the new proposal for ceasefire hostage for that whole plan with the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, and Qatar will present the details to senior Hamas leaders at the same time. So it seems like Hamas is not in Doha at this point. Following negotiations in Qatar, President Biden told reporters at the White House that he doesn't want to jinx anything, but he said we might have something on the table. He said a deal is closer than it was 3 days ago. In terms of where things stand with Hezbollah, as you know, the main issue the past week or two has been whether or not Hezbollah from Lebanon and Iran would counterattack Israel in response to the Israeli assassinations in Beirut and in Tehran. A source close to Hezbollah told the Washington Post that the group will not launch a retaliation operation against Israel while the Qatar talks are happening because the party does not want to be held accountable for obstructing the talks or a potential deal. They said retaliation can wait, it is not urgent, and it does not have a time limit. The IDF said that 5 rockets were fired from Lebanon into Western Galilee and northern Israel, and a Hezbollah surveillance drone fell near a northern Israeli town in the last 24 hours, and the Air Force of Israel attacked Hezbollah targets in South Lebanon. A Hezbollah operative was killed in an Israeli airstrike in South Lebanon, and another person was wounded, according to a Saudi news report. Hezbollah released a video showing operatives that were allegedly using a large-scale tunnel system to transport rockets to underground launch sites, but the video has not been authenticated. Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz met with visiting counterparts from the UK and France and said that if Iran does attack, we expect the coalition to join Israel, not only in defense, but also in striking targets in Iran. The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant that the U.S. continues to monitor attack planning from Iran and its proxies, as well as posturing itself across the region in order to be able to defend Israel and to protect U.S. personnel and facilities throughout the Middle East. That was according to the Pentagon. Qatar's Prime Minister Al-Thani called Iran's acting foreign minister after the first round of hostage ceasefire conversations in Doha yesterday to give him an update on developments, and he reminded him of the need to remain calm in the region and to allow the negotiations to continue. In terms of updates about Gaza, the Israeli Defense Forces once again told residents in neighborhoods of Younis in the north part of the city of Younis in South Gaza, as well as those in the area of Deir al-Balah, that they must evacuate, saying, due to the exploitation of the area and terrorist activities and firing at Israel, remaining in these areas has now become dangerous. So once again, there has been forced removal of Palestinians who have been displaced time and time again in Gaza. Amnesty International has claimed in an investigation that weapons made in the United States have been used in 2 Israeli airstrikes in Gaza that killed at least 43 civilians. This is a direct quote. An investigation by Amnesty International alleges that a US-made weapons guidance system was used in 2 Israeli airstrikes in October, where 43 civilians were said to have been killed. Fragments of the US-made Joint Direct Attack Munitions Guidance System were found in the rubble of destroyed homes in a neighborhood of Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, according to a report released on Tuesday by Amnesty International. Ali Hospital, which is a hospital that is a part of the Anglican Diocese of Jerusalem. The Episcopal Church is one of CMEP's member denominations. Just announced that a new chemotherapy center has opened at the Ali Hospital in Gaza. Despite bombardments all around them, the staff of Ali Hospital, in partnership with Augusta Victoria, which is in Jerusalem, and the Lutheran World Federation, have been able to open a new chemotherapy center this week. It was scheduled to launch last December. Might God bless and sustain the hospital's ministry of healing, even as we continue to pray for an end to this devastating war that has now claimed more than 41,000 lives and caused unimaginable suffering and pain. That was an announcement from the denominations themselves. We have talked before about the Freedom Flotilla that is due to set sail from Malta. Freedom Flotilla activists who are about to leave Malta to sail to Gaza and non-violently break the siege, according to Nonviolence International. They had a press conference this week. The mission of the flotilla is for the children of Gaza. It began in April of 2023. It's been visiting ports in various countries to build solidarity with the Palestinian people who have suffered 17 years of blockade and now 10 months of siege. According to their website, they support no harbor for genocide and demand that the supply of military fuel for Israeli genocide against Palestinians in Gaza must be prohibited and prevented. In the West Bank, dozens of Israeli settlers rioted in the village of Jeet on Thursday night, shooting at Palestinian residents, torching vehicles and homes, and throwing stones. I watched a video online of one Israeli peace activist who said that it was a pogrom. He said it was so horrific. He said there were no arrests of any of the settlers. One person was killed, another was critically wounded by gunfire, 3 were wounded by stones, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. It was not clear if it was the IDF or settler gunfire that killed and wounded the 2. I shared about Hassan, who had reported about saying it was 100 settlers, and it just was horrific. 4 houses, 6 cars were torched during the rampage. Yeshdin reported a security force told Haaretz there was a firebomb that was hurled at a house while a family was inside. They managed to escape, but the house was severely damaged. Shin Bet and the Israeli police opened an investigation. 1 person was taken into custody, but no one was arrested. Prime Minister Netanyahu condemned the incident, saying those responsible would be caught and sentenced according to the law. But what we're hearing from on the ground is that settlers are acting with impunity. Far-right Minister Smotrich said the raid had nothing to do with settlements or settlers. They were criminals who should be sentenced. Far-right Ben-Gvir blamed the IDF chief of staff for not backing soldiers who shoot stone-throwing terrorists that lead to incidents like this attack. And U.S. Ambassador to Israel Jack Lew said he was appalled by the settlers' rampage. In terms of settler attacks, I woke up this morning to a message from some people we work with and are in coalition with, who are on the ground right now during a solidarity trip, including some of our CMEP constituents, one of our regional coordinators. They were in the South Hebron Hills today, and they reported that a village named Jamal near Tubas in the South Hebron Hills is now evacuating from the valley. It's been surrounded by settlers on all sides. They said while trying to evacuate, the village has still faced settler violence, including last night at 8 p.m., at midnight, and end this morning. Children are frightened to the point of vomiting. The people were beaten physically. Women were sexually harassed. The settlers were young men bearing clubs, sticks, and weapons with which they attacked the village repeatedly throughout the week. The group encountered the settlers during their visit as well, and they reached out and asked if we would contact the U.S. Officials. I was in touch with the State Department early this morning, West Coast time, and they responded immediately. They took a report. They said they are acting on the incident and investigating it. So please continue in prayer, continue in your activism, calling for a comprehensive ceasefire, that these negotiations might be successful, that this could be a turning point for the ongoing atrocities in Gaza, that hostages could be returned home, prisoners set free, and that we would see peace. Amen.